From buying a $65,000 RV you only use 5 times, to realizing you could have made $260,000 just by investing instead. These are 12 investments that are keeping you poor. It feels smart. Only $19.99 for a new outfit. Total steal. But fast fashion is one of the fastest ways to turn your money into closet clutter. Here's the pull. It's cheap, trendy, and everywhere. One scroll through TikTok or Instagram and you're convinced that you need that neon cargo jumpsuit because everyone's wearing it this week. The reality: most fast fashion loses all resale value the second you remove the tag. And often, it doesn't even survive 5 washes, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Americans throw away over 11 million tons of textile waste each year. Most of it, fast fashion. Take Emma, a college student who bought a new outfit every week for content. She thought it was a business move, until she added up her spending. Over $2,800 in 6 months, and she couldn't resell any of it. It was like lighting my paycheck on fire, she said. Wealthier consumers, they buy fewer pieces, higher quality, timeless, and think minimalist wardrobes that grow in value with time and style. If Emma had invested that $2,800 into an index fund just 1 year ago, she'd already be up around 20%. And still have something to wear. Comment below if your closet has at least one "what was I thinking" item. You finally moved out, you want your place to look grown up, so you drop $4,000 at a showroom and walk out thinking, this is an investment in my space. Here's the kicker. Furniture loses 20 to 30% of its value the second it's delivered. Even luxury brands are used once they enter your home. And good luck reselling that velvet sectional after your cart discovers it. Why does this happen? Trends change fast. The mid-century modern craze today is tomorrow's garage sale theme. On top of that, mass-produced furniture often lacks durability, meaning it doesn't even last a decade. Case in point, Marcus spent $7,200 furnishing his condo right after a job promotion. 5 years later, he tried to sell everything before moving to a new city. Final total earned on Facebook Marketplace, $740. That's a 90% drop. They're financially savvy. They look for used high-quality solid wood pieces, often handmade, often cheaper, often lasting generations. That's $7,200 invested instead of spent. We're just warming up. The biggest financial heartbreak, that's still coming. You tell yourself, this blender is going to change my life. And maybe it does. For 3 smoothies. We've all been there. Buying a $900 espresso machine, a $400 air fryer with 12 settings, or a smart fridge that tells you you're out of oat milk. It feels like a healthy, adult decision. Like a Michelin star lifestyle is just one gadget away. But here's the brutal truth. High-end kitchen gear rarely holds value, and even more rarely gets used. According to appliance industry data, the average person uses a specialty kitchen appliance just 3 times before it's forgotten. Like Laura, a self-proclaimed home chef who spent $3,500 on top-tier appliances during lockdown. She ended up using most of them as storage. I literally kept bread in the dehydrator, she admitted. People who build real wealth, they buy tools based on need, not fantasy. A basic blender, a reliable stove, and a sharp knife will outperform a kitchen full of unused gadgets. And if Laura had put that $3,500 into her Roth IRA instead of her gadget graveyard, she'd be on track for nearly $28,000 in 20 years. If this one made you cringe, wait until we hit number 5. That one will shock you. At checkout, the pitch is smooth. Just $79 extra and you'll be protected for years. You hesitate, then nod. Better safe than sorry. But here's what most people don't realize. Extended warranties are one of the most profitable upsells in retail. For the seller, not for you. Best Buy, for example, makes more profit from warranties than from some actual products. Why? Because most warranties go unused. Either the product never breaks, the issue isn't covered, or the claim process is so complicated you give up. Like Kevin, who bought a $200 extended warranty on his $1,500 laptop. When the screen cracked, he was told accidental damage wasn't covered. I paid extra for peace of mind, he said, but ended up with just a broken screen and a lighter wallet. What do smart spenders do? They use credit cards that already offer purchase protection and put aside a self-insurance fund, money set aside for the rare cases something does go wrong. If Kevin had invested that $200 instead, in 10 years it could have doubled, with 0 fine print attached. Subscribe if you've ever nodded yes to a cashier out of guilt. You strut out of the store feeling unstoppable. That $1,300 handbag, a statement. But the resale market doesn't care, and neither does your bank account. Designer fashion feels like an asset. But unless you bought an ultra-rare Birkin, you're holding a liability that fades with time, wear, and shifting trends. Most high-end pieces lose 40 to 70% of their value after the first wear, and some can't be resold at all, either due to damaged, loss of packaging, or just fading popularity. Jasmine bought a $980 pair of limited edition heels to celebrate herself. 2 months later, She tried to flip them on a resale app. Offer, $112. Apparently no one cares about red soles anymore, she joked. Meanwhile, wealthy dressers often go stealth. Think quality basics, timeless silhouettes, and second-hand deals. They look rich because they are rich, not because they're labeled head to toe. That $980 invested in an ETF 10 years ago, it would have grown to over $2,500 today. That's a lot of runway. It's not a watch, it's an investment piece. That's what the salesperson says, and you want to believe them. Here's the truth. 95% of luxury watches lose value. Only a tiny handful, like certain Rolex or Patek Philippe models, appreciate over time, and even then, timing the market is harder than it looks. Most buyers wear them, scratch them, and immediately kill the resale price. Add insurance, servicing, and safe storage. You're bleeding money just to tell time. Eric bought a $14,000 Omega Speedmaster after a bonus. Financially literate folks, they admire watches on other people, or they stick to one quality piece they actually use. Knowing the real flex is having investments that pay you. If Eric had put that $14,000 into real estate, he could be earning monthly income instead of polishing a watch he barely wears. It's shiny, it's fast, it folds. It costs $1,299. And 6 months later, there's a newer one that makes yours feel ancient. Tech loses value faster than almost anything, especially flagship phones, VR headsets, and smart devices. The second a new model drops, resale values plummet. A $1,200 iPhone can be worth less than $700 within a year, not because it's broken, just because it's not new. Dylan, a self-declared early adopter, upgraded his phone every year for 5 years. He thought he was staying ahead, until he calculated the damage, over $4,800 lost in trade-in value. I basically paid a monthly fee to feel relevant, he said. The rich, they often delay upgrading, or they buy last year's model at a discount and invest the difference. If Dylan had bought only every third phone and invested the rest, he'd have an extra $6,500 right now, and the same number of selfies. Tag that one friend who upgrades everything, even their toaster. You've seen it. A new coin is going to the moon, and the FOMO hits hard, so you buy in, just in time for it to crash back to earth. Hype coins and NFTs promise fast wealth, community, and future-proof investing. But most of them, they're modern-day magic beans. According to a 2023 study, over 80% of NFTs lost 90% or more of their value within 12 months. And thousands of coins are now worth less than a penny or nothing at all. Like Sam, who dropped $5,000 on Shiba Strike, a meme coin endorsed by influencers. Within 2 weeks it was deleted. It was like watching my money evaporate in real time, he admitted. Wealth builders, they stay away from noise. They buy proven assets, diversify, and avoid anything that requires hype to survive. If Sam had put that $5,000 into the Nasdaq index instead, even with some volatility, he'd be up by thousands, not down to zero. It roars, it gleams, it screams success, and it starts losing value the moment you touch the gas. Luxury cars are one of the most seductive financial traps. They look like wealth, but they silently drain it. A brand new luxury car can lose 10 to 15% of its value instantly, and up to 60 to 70% within 5 years. Alex bought a $78,000 BMW after getting promoted. He called it a reward, but 2 years later, he still owed $20,000 more than the car's market value. I thought I bought status, he said. I really bought debt. Meanwhile, actual millionaires drive value-based cars, used, efficient, reliable. Think Toyota Camry or a 5-year-old Lexus. And if Alex had taken that $78,000 and invested it in an S&P 500 fund instead of into a fast, depreciating toy, he'd be on track for $375,000 in 20 years. You will feel better about this once you hear how someone dropped $65,000 on an RV they used 5 times. You imagine freedom, nature, adventure, the open road, or endless waves. But what you really bought, a floating or rolling money pit. Boats and RVs depreciate like luxury cars, only faster. Most lose 20 to 30% of their value in the first year and require constant maintenance, storage, insurance, fuel, and repairs. According to financial analysts, the average boat owner spends 10% of the boat's original value annually just to keep it running. Take Brian. He bought a $65,000 RV during the pandemic to see America. 2 years later, he'd used it 5 times and owed more than it was worth. It felt like buying a second home, he said, but it acted more like a second mortgage with wheels. The wealthier rent luxury when needed. They don't tie up money in depreciating toys, they keep it working in the market. That's $65,000 invested over 15 years. Tag someone who thinks a boat is a personality. We're not judging, just calculating. It sounds like a dream. Own part of a luxury resort. Guaranteed vacation every year. Reality check. You're not buying real estate. You're buying ongoing obligations. Timeshares lose value immediately. Because there's no real resale market. You're often stuck with rising maintenance fees, usage restrictions, blackout dates, and complex exit traps. In fact, entire businesses exist solely to help people escape with their timeshare contracts. Maria and Tom bought a $22,000 timeshare in Hawaii. We thought it would save us money on vacations, they said. Within 3 years, the fees had doubled and booking was a nightmare. When they tried to sell it, brokers laughed. It's like trying to sell a used gym membership. One said, wealth-minded people, they rent flexibility, Airbnbs, hotels, last-minute deals, no strings, no stress, no sunset clauses. That $22,000 in a high-yield portfolio instead could have funded multiple vacations without the legal headaches. It's the best day of your life. But for many, it's also the start of years of debt. The average wedding in the US now costs over $30,000 more than a down payment on a house. Couples often feel pressure to deliver a magical experience for family, for friends, for social media, but the financial aftermath can be brutal. Nearly 20% of newlyweds go into debt for their big day, and few recoup even a fraction of the expense, like Rachel and Chris, who took out a $25,000 loan for their wedding. We didn't want to compromise, they said. 2 years later, they were still paying it off with interest. I just wish we'd spent it on something that lasted longer than a night. Savvier couples. They go intimate, they budget. They save the big money for a honeymoon, a house, or investing in their future together. If Rachel and Chris had invested that $25,000 instead of spending it on fairy lights and chair covers, they'd be looking at over $100,000 in 20 years, enough for a real life happily ever after.